guys, welcome back to my channel. I feel like my camera's a little lopsided, but we're just gonna go with it. I wanted to do a get ready with me and like life update video because I feel like I've just been like kind of silent on social media. So it seems like a good time to get ready and talk about life. So as a side note, not even side note, I just filmed a video on this. This is the HYDROPEPTIDE Solar Defense sunscreen. So that's what I have on my face right now. It's lovely. I'm like, should I just like wear this and that's it? But since I am doing a get ready with me, I guess I'll put some makeup on. I mean, twist my arm, I'll do it. Anyway, so let's get into it. I will link everything below. I won't talk about all of the products, but maybe just a few. So yeah, oh my gosh, this foundation is so dirty. But that's the first thing that I'm gonna start out with. This is the Laura Mercier Real Flawless Foundation. And I just got in 3 new brushes from BK Beauty. This is their 109. It's like this angled foundation brush. And then the Angie Hot and Flashy, it's the concealer, like angled brush. If you couldn't tell, I like angled. And then this is the 205. It's an eyeshadow, also angled. So there we go. We're gonna put it on my face though. So I'm using my White Barn palette. It's super fancy. I don't know if you guys know about this. And we'll get going. All right, so the first thing that is on my list to talk about is fertility. Also, this is definitely like, I'm gonna have to use some bronzer today because this is more of my light shade. So if you are not aware, I think I did a video, I forget when, earlier this year about fertility and my struggles with IVF, and you know, I've tried to be, I've been open and honest. I just don't want to share like everything because it is a very, very, very personal part of my life. So while I've told you about a lot of it, I just, you know, like I said, I don't say everything, but we're still dealing with that. Like nothing has changed. I'm obviously not pregnant, but I hope that maybe in a few months I'll have more exciting news to share. So that's kind of where I will leave it. I know that's like a little bit of a tease, but at the same time, it should be talked about, fertility and infertility and all this, but nobody should be forced to. Like it's a very, very personal thing. Comes with a lot of kind of landmines and just like mental health issues and all these things. So if you are dealing with it, if you know somebody that's dealing with it and you're like, well, why don't they talk about it more? Like they have a platform or whatever it may be. It's because they don't want to. And like nobody has to talk about things that they don't want to that are very personal to them. So all that to say, I do tell you guys about it because it is like probably the most kind of salient and pressing thing in my life these days. But I also don't really want to just like bare my soul and tell you everything. So one day maybe I will, I don't know, I'm not at that point right now, but that's kind of where I am right now. So that's kind of, I think the first thing. Now I'm gonna do bronzer because I'm looking a little pale. This is the Chanel, the Beige, what's it called? Healthy Glow, that's it. And I'm gonna use the same foundation brush because I think it's gonna work really well. But the next thing that I have talked about a little over on Instagram, and if you're not following me on Instagram, that's kind of the place to like get the more, that feels obvious to say, like that's where you get the more kind of up-to-date updates on life. And I post a lot of random memes and like cat stuff, so if you don't like that, don't follow me. Yeah, this brush is great for this bronzer, wonderful. But one of the things I've been talking about over there is my anxiety, and I've had some really, really big revelations this year, mainly centered around the fact that I am an anxious person. Go figure. I've talked about this with I have multiple therapists now, and I've talked about it with them, and it's kind of one of these things where I'm like, wait a second, you're telling me anxiety and being anxious don't necessarily mean like you're like on edge and like shaking and like what I think of like anxious people as? And they're like, no, like that's a misconception. Anxiety can be so much more. You can be like cool as a cucumber, which I like to like think that I usually am, and you can be an anxious person. And the more I've read about it and the more that I've learned about anxiety, I'm like, oh my God, how did nobody clue me in on like one of the key personality traits that I have? It's like, I've always been an anxious person. I hate being late. I like to be like on time and prompt, and if somebody at work gives me a project to do, I like rush to do it, which is not always great because I don't always do the like best quality because I'm so anxious to get it done and have it off my plate. And like, you know, I still of course try to do a good job, but, and those are just like some very, very few examples. But overall, I'm like kind of shocked that I'm just learning about this at this age in my life, like decades in. But it's been a huge kind of, you know, I think the more you know about yourself, the better you can handle when things go awry and the issues that come up in life. And that's definitely been a big one for me this year. I don't really need concealer, but we're gonna just go all in. This is the new HAUS Labs one. Been really enjoying it. Yeah, so the more you know about yourself, the better you can kind of adjust and handle things that come up in life. So me having anxiety and knowing about it, it's huge. I've also been on Zoloft as of like the past, I guess, maybe 2 months. And I like that I am addressing that, like the issue of anxiety, but I'm not sure if Zoloft is actually the medicine for me. So I am kind of talking with my doctor and making sure that if I'm not on that, do I need to be on something else? It just has really disrupted my sleep. And that's one thing I like cannot do without. I mean, I've been doing without since being on it, but I don't want to. Like I value sleep too much, and I think it's really important for our health, like mental and physical. So kind of trying to see, like, it's okay if one medication doesn't work for you, you can be on others, and just being pretty honest and open about medication and anxiety, because the more we talk about these kind of mental health things, the better other people are to, like, I wish I had heard a video like this where people are like, you can be anxious and fully functioning and nobody knows, but like all these little red flags, and you can also get medicine and you can do all these things. So that's kind of where I am. I feel like I'm moving in the right direction, and just knowing yourself better, which to be fair, I pride myself on being like a pretty self-aware and like self-actualized person. That sounds weird. We're gonna go with the Patrick Ta today. But I had no clue about any of this. So if you couldn't tell, I'm trying to use all these BK Beauty brushes. That's what we're doing. I don't know if this is gonna be the right brush for this, but let's see. No, I don't think so. Okay, let's switch brushes. Go back to my favorite Morphe by Ariel brushes. And yeah, so like knowing what you have and like the struggles, that's definitely part of the battle. Also, asking for help. I have lately been better about, it's really hard. You feel like you're kind of like an annoyance, a nuisance to people, and especially like my husband, because I've been struggling a lot lately. Like I've just got a lot on my plate mentally. He's not here. He's still working in Florida for a job. He should be home at least in this month in November. But like I have a lot of struggles that I voice to him, and the poor guy, like he's probably like, what happened to my wife who was like happy and fun-loving and free-spirited? And it's like, I'm still there, but like this season of life has been more challenging, and I think being okay with that, and like him knowing that, you know, I'm working through it. It's not like I want to be like this forever. It's really nice to have somebody and have people in your life where you're like, this is not my best. I'm not at my best, but I am aware, and I'm trying to become back to what I was, happier. And, you know, nobody wants to be unhappy and depressed or anxious. Like nobody wants that, but sometimes it's like you got to work through it, and it doesn't happen overnight. So we have lots of discussions about that, and he keeps telling me like he's here for me and he just wants me to be better. But then it's also, you know, you feel bad because you're like, well, he probably doesn't want to like come home from a long day's work and have to deal with me crying and being so upset, like, and then I'm like, well, maybe he wants somebody else like that doesn't do that and is carefree. And then it's like, he's like, no, like, of course I love you. And there's so much to it. And it doesn't help that he, like I was saying, is in Florida. That has just made things, of course, more difficult, and him being away, I've been quite lonely. Like I never thought, like when he first left, I was like, oh, the house is mine, I can do whatever I want, like this is great, I don't have to cook for anybody else. And then after a while, it's like, no, you know what? We need people around, and I work from home, so I don't see people during the day really. I mean, I see them on the computer, but like, it's become quite lonely, and I am ready for a change. But I guess that kind of leads into the next point, and I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I'll do a little bit of a deeper smoky eye. Basically, I'm just using this one and then this one, and I'll probably use one of the like shimmers, but I'm gonna deepen up the outer part with that. So the other thing, and I've kind of mentioned this over on Instagram, but this has been, it's definitely been the hardest year of my life. Like sometimes I think like, no, you've dealt with like really, really challenging things in the past. And it's true, like 5 years ago, my brother died, my older brother. I don't wish a family death on anybody, but especially like a premature death and not the greatest circumstances. And I still deal with that, and as a family we deal with it. But it's one of those things, it's like, I don't know, death is incredibly hard, and also sometimes like, this is gonna come off wrong, but it's a moment in time. Somebody has died, and as tragic and terrible as that is, they're gone, and you still have to pick up the pieces afterward. But somehow like, it's different than when it's like a mental struggle day in, day out in your brain, where you're like, will I get better? Like, with my brother's death, I knew that like it would hurt and be so raw, but I knew over time like I would always miss him, but like life kind of goes on. And you know, it sounds so terrible. I don't know how else to say it, but maybe if you've dealt with mental health issues, and I'm just using this to kind of wipe it off, then you kind of can understand a little bit. But I guess the point being, and I'm gonna use this, I need a little bit more of the white shade in the middle, but the point being is that with mental health, and I feel like I've listened to other people say this, where it's like, you just, even in your head, you know, like this could be temporary, and hopefully it is, but sometimes you're like, I don't know, like, will I ever feel normal again? And that's how I felt a lot lately, because I always thought of myself as a very positive person and resilient, and lately I have not felt as resilient as normal. I'm gonna use the deepest shade with this MAC, whatever. It's all like come off. It's just this angled brush as eyeliner. So yeah, hardest year of my life, a lot of struggles that I didn't foresee happening. I feel like though, I'm like kind of making my way out of that fog, the haze, whatever you wanna call it. This is a terrible idea. I should do this off camera, because I need more precision. Yeah, let me finish this up and then we'll continue. I got some fallout from this deepest shade, so, oh wait, I was gonna put a glitter on. You know what, I like this like peachy shade at the top, and I'm just gonna use my finger and kind of like, yeah, that's fun. This is a very glam Saturday morning look. Lovely. It's actually fun to like get really done up with makeup sometimes, because I feel like I don't often. Next thing I'm gonna do is blush, and I feel like I'm looking quite matte, so I'm gonna use both of these. These are the VIEVE Skin Dew and the Sunset Blush, and I like to mix them on my little palette and then put them on my face. But it's not been all bad. Lately, I feel like where I have been excelling, and even like when I feel like I'm not necessarily at my best, is at work. I have gotten like some pretty big compliments, one from our CEO and from my director and my supervisor, and it's really rewarding to know that like, even though in my head, I'm like, I know I'm not at my best, I'm not on my like A game, but I'm still capable of doing really good work. So like when I am feeling even better and more positive, like what is it gonna look like then? I feel like it can only get better, which is amazing. And my company, it's for the first time in a long time, I can see myself at this company for a while. I haven't felt that way at almost any company ever, because I felt like there wasn't always the room for growth that I wanted at certain companies, but this time I feel it. Like I feel like this company, we have so many goals as a company, and there's just a lot of room for growth within like our space, our industry, but then also I think because of that, we're gonna be able as individuals and employees to really grow and kind of like branch out. So that's really exciting because I love what I do. I'm a project manager, but I also really like the design space and like UX, UI. And so as a fintech company, there's definitely room for that. And right now we don't have anybody doing that. We let go of all of our UX team earlier this year. And I've talked with my boss because I think on the horizon, UX is going to become pretty important for our company. And it's just cool because she knows that I'm interested and I feel like I'm in a good place. Like, it's a positive place to be, which is very, very exciting. All right, we've got one last thing and I am going to be putting on mascara. This is the new Tower 28 Brown. It's called Drift. This is the MakeWaves mascara, which I loved before. The brown shade, I feel like it's very dry. Like when you get a mascara and like 3 weeks in or 4 weeks in, it becomes drier. That's what I feel like this is, but like when I first got it. And I don't love super dry mascaras. So I have not loved this as much as the original. But the last thing I wanted to talk about is kind of YouTube and my space within social media. I have not been posting a lot of reels. I have not been posting on Instagram that much about like actual beauty and skincare or sunscreen. And I'm so hard on myself. I'm like, all these other people are like out there killing it, posting reels every day and making all this content. And I'm like, but you know what? Like, I focus on YouTube and I put out quite a bit of videos. Like I would say one every 5 days or so. And that's I've been doing that regularly for over a year now. And I've seen some growth, of course. Like right now, my channel, I think we just hit 7,000. My big goal right now is of course like to hit 10K, and that'll be a really exciting moment. But I also realize like I am very slow growing. Like other people hit 10K in like a month and I'm here after like 4 years. But I kind of don't care because I like the community that's here. I like that people come and they're invested in what I have to say, and it just feels more natural than like growing too fast or too big. And I'm okay with that. I also realize like I have another job and I have lots going on in my life. So it's okay that my channel doesn't grow as much, and I'm also not great at social media and I just don't care. So I don't put in like, you know, I could be making reels every day and I think that would help grow the channel, but I just don't care to do that. So it's kind of what it is, but I'm happy with where it is and I'm happy with kind of our little community here. Yeah. This brown, it's just it feels so dry and like my lashes don't look that great. Also, I have a lot of makeup on. I don't recommend using this sunscreen with a foundation, even though this Laura Mercier is pretty thin. I think this for me, like the amount of coverage that I like, for me, I would just use this and then maybe some concealer and that would be fine. But for the purposes of this video, it is what it is. I was thinking of putting like a lip gloss on, but I don't think I have one. So this is my very, very glam, I don't know, maybe like New Year's Eve look. And yeah, I think that's it, guys. So thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I am pretty vulnerable and honest, so you know, go easy on me, and hopefully the cat hairs will leave my face soon. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.